Hello, everyone. Simon, I've given you recording privileges. Okay, and James, are you there as well? James Cole, yeah, I can see you're there, James. James, I've given you recording privileges as well, I think. Just confirm your thumbs up with that.
Yeah, all good.
Lovely. So James and Simon will start us off, and then we'll move into print media. And as usual, please use the chat facility to indicate you've got a question. So James, if you want to get us underway, if that's okay, please.
Hi, Joe. A tough series, a tough tour. How do you ensure that it doesn't leave lasting scars heading into the summer and then the Ashes series further down the line?
I think first and foremost, time will look after that, and there's a great opportunity to play a lot of cricket between now and then. And I also think we've got to remember a lot of the good things that we've done on this trip as well. 3 out of the 6 games that we've won, and we've performed excellently well. And still in these last couple of games, there's been a couple of things that have been really positive too. So it has been disappointing. It's been frustrating to finish the series on the note that we have, but we've got to keep looking forward as a team. We've got to make sure that we keep working as hard as we are. That's one thing I'm very proud of the group. It's actually the work ethic and the willingness to try and learn and to develop and get better in these conditions is certainly there. And in many ways, that's all you can ask for from the guys. You've just got to keep looking to upskill themselves, keep looking to take the experience, take all of the knowledge that they're getting from these games and try and better themselves. And as long as we do that, we'll become a better team moving forward. So, I think that's going to be a really important aspect of dealing with what's to come in the next 12 months.
Was selection a big challenge for you personally during this series?
I think it's easy to look at selection in hindsight and at the back end of the series when things haven't gone your way. It's obviously something that will be looked at. And, at times the wickets might not have played as we'd have thought they would have. Might have not read them as well as you would have liked either. But that's part and parcel of the game. That's something that, as captain and as a team, you have to take on the chin, and you have to understand that every now and again you're going to make mistakes and you're going to get those wrong. It's easy to look back now and say that was the case.
And the rotation policy, did that hinder you a bit?
The rotation policy is there to look after the players. We've said all along that making sure that the players are looked after and that their welfare and well-being is paramount. We've got to follow that through, and I think we've done that very well. It is difficult, of course. As a captain, you want all of the players available all the time, but in the current climate, it's just not possible. And we try to manage it as best as we can. But we've also got to look at at cricket for this year as a whole package, and there's so much cricket around. So it's really important that whilst bubbles in particular are around, that we continue to keep looking after the players. And also we've got to get away from playing guys and running them into the ground until they fall over. We've got to make sure that we're moving forward and developing as a team. And of course there might have been areas, or again, looking back, very easy to say, that we could have done things slightly differently. But it's all been done with the players' best interest at heart and for the good of English cricket across the 3 formats.
Last one from me then. Will you continue with this rotation policy then, or will you review it, maybe change it?
I've not had a discussion about that moving forward, but I'm sure that over the next period of time, it will come into conversation for sure.
Thanks, Joe.
Yes, thank you.
Simon Mann, please.
Hello, Joe.
Hi, Simon.
Just on today, was that just a bit too tame for your liking?
It was disappointing. I think credit dues have to go to India. They've outskilled us. They've definitely outskilled us. They've performed very well. They've exploited the surface very well. They showed us how to bat on that wicket, and similarly with the ball today, they were excellent. So, like I said, we've just got to keep looking to get better, keep looking to learn, and trying to find ways of being better in similar conditions in the future. So yes, it was a frustrating way to finish this game, and there were periods and times throughout where we felt very much in the hunt. The credit to Rishabh and Washington, that partnership was outstanding. He made it very difficult. The way he bats makes it very difficult for bowlers to build pressure on him, and to set field to him is quite difficult sometimes when he pulls out a reverse sweep to a guy with 600 Test wickets. It's quite a skill and a brave move to do, but credit to him, it came off for him and got themselves into a very good position on that wicket.
As far as the future is concerned, how concerned are you about your batting lineup, or do you see a series in India against bowlers of that quality on pitches like this as a sort of an outlier, really, sort of unique?
I think the guys have to embrace what's happened. They have to understand it, and they have to be realistic. There are areas that we can get better at, and we'd be stupid to come away from this trip and just say, "Oh, it was India. It was extreme conditions. The ball was spinning and skidding on. It's impossible to bat." That's the wrong attitude. I think the most important thing is we come away from here and we say, you know what, there are things that we can get better at. There are world-class spinners, and high performers at home in particular, but we can be better. What can I take away from this trip? I'm going to go away and make sure that if I find myself in a similar situation down the line or a next tour or whatever, then we'll be, equipped to deal with that. But I also think when we come home and we play in our own conditions, we're a completely different side, and it is a different animal. And we also have to look at this winter as a whole. There have been occasions, 3 very good performances where the ball has spun and we've dealt with it better. And I go back to the previous tour of India, and you look at actually the strides that we have made in certain areas, and we've found ways of taking wickets out here. And granted, the services have been different, but you look at how we performed in Sri Lanka as well, and how we performed abroad over this last couple of years. That was something that we were really struggling with. So as a whole, if you look at it bigger picture, there are things that we are doing much better, but there are still things that we can improve on, and that's, in a way, it is exciting to see that happening. Of course, you want to speed that process up, and you want guys to come here straight away, first tour, and make an impact. But it doesn't always happen like that. And it's the important thing is the attitude that we take from this. That's the one thing that I will look at, and know that when we come home and we play in our own conditions, it will be very different. And we know that we can perform when we're playing conditions that are more familiar. So yes, there will be things to look at, but also we're not bad side just because of these 3 games.
How has it affected you, this series? I mean, has it felt at times like you've been carrying England's batting?
No, I wouldn't say that. I've been disappointed with my own returns in the last couple of games as well. As the form player coming into back end and then the crunch part of the series, you want to be the one carrying that forward and being the guy to background for the rest of the team. And as the experienced batter, I feel like I've not managed to really do that, and that's been a frustration personally. But again, I will sit down at the end of this on my own, and I will look at the series and look at areas I can get better at. And next time around, if I'm lucky enough to tour here again in the future, I'll make sure that I try not to make the same mistakes, and that I can build on what's happened this time.
Joe, thanks very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Cheers.
George DeBell, then, please.
Good day, Joe. Isn't it always going to be desperately tough for England to win in India while we have a domestic situation, county scene, where spin bowling is almost irrelevant?
Yeah, I mean, we've had this conversation in the last week or so. I do think that there are areas of county cricket that can be improved, and quite easily as well. I do think that we need to find a way of making games last 4 days, giving spinners the opportunity to bowl and learn to bowl at different stages of a game. Learn to hold the game first innings. If it's not spinning, it's not in your favour. Give the seamers a bit more respite, and then be able to attack and to really deal with that pressure of trying to bowl the side out long term across. But it's not just spin, it's the seam and batting as well. As a batting group, You want guys to come into this environment to test cricket and have that knowledge, wealth of knowledge of what it's like to go out in the second innings and have 450 on the board and be able to ignore that scoreboard pressure, be able to deal with that, put it at the back of your mind, and go and get a score beyond that, and make sure that you're massively in the game comes the second innings. Same with the seamers, you want them to have a range of skills that can exploit a very, like a flat wicket, a mundane wicket, which is not offering much for them. Can they change their angles around? Can they go up and down the gears in terms of pace? Have they got 5 over spell of short pitch bowling? They're all things that will improve the game and test cricket for England in the long run. Is if the games go longer. One way you can do it is, it might be a little bit boring, but making a draw a bit more of an option, a likeable option. Whereas it might take a few. If draws are more appealing because of the amount of points there were, then it might improve that situation slightly. The sides won't be looking to try and take advantage of that first innings or back themselves to win half of their games at home because the conditions better than opposition. I'm looking at that from a very selfish point of view as the England Test captain that wants the progression of cricket to the guys to be able to walk into this team and find things a little bit more familiar when they come in. But you look at that when that was the case in the county game, when there were a lot more draws around, you look at the guys that came into that side. It was Trott, Bell, Pryor, Peterson, Collingwood. They all came through at a time where that was the case. And off the back of it, as a batting group, they went into Test cricket averaging similar to what they averaged in county cricket. Granted, they were excellent players, and it was a fine team. But can we speed that process up by getting it right in the tier below?
But it's very difficult to do that while you've got a white ball window in the primary 2 months of the summer, isn't it?
That's there to stay, but I'm sure there are areas that you can find to try and make small improvements at least, and I'm sure they are. But that's I've given you quite an honest view of what I think of it at the minute. So sorry, I can't give you much more.
No, thanks for your time, Zena.
Cheers, George.
Rory Dollard, please.
Hi, George. Just to sort of continue on the theme of spin, over the last 6 matches, do you think you've seen enough to decide really that Jack Leach is the number one spinner now?
Really sorry, can you please just